Thank you, Brenda. That was beautiful. Good morning. Welcome on this beautiful February day to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. If it is your first time with us, welcome, a special welcome. And boy, did you pick a good day to come. Not just the weather, but today is a special service. It's a new tradition. We have some old traditions and some new traditions. It used to be around this time, every year we would talk about Valentine's Day, but that proved very divisive. People are pro and con and mixed feelings, and we wondered, is there something we could all unite behind and find consensus? And it's chocolate. I know not everyone likes chocolate. I've heard. In fact, my father-in-law, who was very honest and kind, said he didn't like chocolate. I accepted him anyway. I didn't understand, but I accepted, and there may be some of you who don't care as much for chocolate as most of us do. But it is a special day. It turns out our relationship with chocolate is a bit complicated too, which Renee will be getting into as well. But we are glad to have you. If it's your first time or if you're second and you didn't fill out a white card the first time, we gently invite you to fill out a white card in the back of the seat in front of you, mainly so we can get you on our email list. And you can drop that in the offering plate later. Also, later in our service, we have a time of joys and concerns where you're invited to drop a stone or multiple stones in a bowl of water, symbolizing a joy, a concern, a loved one that's on your heart. To drop that. If there is something you would like to be shared, you can fill it out on one of these cards. Indicate whether it's to be shared publicly or just shared with Renee and other leaders, and that will be read if it's to be shared. And also those of you joining us online, welcome. And you can fill out in the comments, those are public. But when we get to joys and concerns, you can give us those as well. We've got a pretty full service, so I'm gonna do an abbreviated welcome here. But again, we're so thrilled to have you and invite you to join in with us today. So without the furthering of any ado, I give you Janet Titus.
Good morning. Hope you all are enjoying this beautiful sunny day. Please join with me as we light our chalice. And here are the words. Love is the spirit of this Trinity, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Our opening hymn today is number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Please rise as you're able and body your spirit.
Wake now, compassion.
be seated. Good morning. I am so glad that each of you are here today. It is our third annual Chocolate Communion where we celebrate love. And this is a joyful, interactive service that is becoming traditional amongst UU congregations, and I'm thrilled to be with you for this occasion. And it's a day where I want to share some news with you. Many of you received an email and have had very kind things to say to me, and I appreciate that. And here is what the email said. Dear ones, this past December, you voted almost unanimously to install me as your minister. Additionally, I was honored that you also chose as a congregation to ordain me locally, as in here at UUFF specifically. It is important that you know how much this means to me. I feel very encouraged, affirmed, loved, and motivated to be the best minister for UUFF. With this motivation in mind, I sought advice from many different ministers and revered colleagues. As a result of their guidance, many hours of personal meditation and discernment, I've made the exciting decision to attend graduate school, seminary, part-time. I've been inspired to maintain my work with you while pursuing my education and hope to eventually seek a national ordination versus local. We will still enjoy the installation celebration on April 12th, where I will be stalled as UUFF's Director of Ministries, with the hope of assuming the official title of minister when my degree program and ordination are complete. I believe this decision will serve both the local and the greater UU community in the long term. There are many details yet to be determined, and you might have questions. Please feel free to talk with me about this. I'm nervous and excited to go back to school, and I know that it is the right decision. I'm not sure I would have been brave enough to embark upon this new beginning were it not for the faith in me reflected by your votes. Whew. That collective expression is cherished. It is a solid foundation. It is a solid foundation that supports my motivation to grow. Again, I am encouraged and appreciative of the sacred relationship that I have with you. I'm very grateful for Janet Titus and Gretchen Wilkes and the rest of the installation committee for walking beside me every step of the way. Grateful to the board for handling my decision so graciously. And grateful to Fawn and Christina for being honest and supportive colleagues. I'm so grateful for all of you, for loving me, for helping me, for allowing me to serve UUFF for 2 decades. I'm so excited about what our future holds together. And I'd like to invite Janet forward to share a few more details, including part of a letter from Cameron Young, the lead of our UUA Southern Region. Janet.
Good morning again. And thank you, Renee. I know that was not easy, but what good things in life ever are. When Rev. Renee announced in November that she wanted to go through with ordination and installation as our full-time minister, I was thrilled. She has done so much to bring life to this fellowship through her 20 years of service and 2 years here in the pulpit. I was gratified to see that this community believed enough in her to vote in December to ordain and install her as our settled minister. But some of you had excellent questions about the process. This stimulated important discussion and contemplation within our leadership. Issues, like how to silence car alarms. Issues that have been difficult to quantitate over previous ministers are now being addressed, such as the development of a formal job description, a covenant of ministry, and a defined evaluation process. It's been a journey, and the path has sometimes been bumpy, but I believe the process has been good for our community and for Renee. She has thought deeply about her approach to the ministry and how to best serve this congregation. She has interacted at length with many individuals in the UU ministry and in the UUA Southern District, and has listened carefully and taken their advice to heart. Her decision to seek installation as our Director of Ministries, as opposed to being ordained locally and installed as a minister, is the result of that journey and has been approved by our Board of Directors. That decision also has the support of Cameron Young, as Renee spoke. He's the lead of they are the lead of our Southern District area, and also of Derek Jackson, who's the Ministerial Credentialing Director of the UUA. In a January email, they forwarded a joint letter to our leadership where they confirmed the sacred authority of congregations and our right to ordain whoever we want as ministers, but, quote, in this situation, we affirm the decision to install Renee Jansky as Director of Ministries. She has demonstrated meaningful skills, commitment, and years of faithful service to this congregation, and this role appropriately honors her gifts while respecting the broader ministerial foundation formation process. It's quite a lengthy letter, but I do have some copies, so if any of you want to read it in its entirety later, I'm happy to let you do that. Part of the continuation of her journey will come as Rev. Renee enrolls in seminary to start working towards her Master's of Divinity. Having the MDiv will give her the opportunity to enter the normal channel to eventually become a fellowshipped Unitarian Universalist minister. Going to school while working full-time is a challenge, as many of you know. It will not be easy, it will not be quick, and I'm sure there will be hiccups along the way. But I believe that with the support of this community, with the support of you behind her, Rev. Renee will work through whatever issues arrive, and that the process will strengthen and deepen her work here in our beloved community. I support Rev. Renee in this endeavor and hope that you will join me in supporting her as well. Thank you.
That's a lot of good-looking chocolate. I stand between you and that, and I'm sorry. Thank you, Renee. Your vulnerability is chef's kiss. Love you for it. Thank you, Janet. And I just want to add a few words on behalf of the board. That we also put an email in the attached to Renee's and a special message, so it's probably waiting for you if you haven't read it. We fully support Renee's decision, which affirms her call to serve UUFF while also creating a pathway toward her becoming a nationally ordained, possibly UU fellowshipped minister in the future. And as we prepare for her installation on April 12th, Renee, her installation committee headed by Janet and Gretchen, the subcommittee that the board formed to formalize aspects of Renee's role, also the board, all of these groups will collaborate closely. And they're all consulting, as Janet and Renee mentioned, with the UU Regional Office, which has been great. Good help. I did a lot of thinking about what to say to you guys this morning. I didn't want to just read my email. because you can just read my email. But I'll say, I believe that there is some value in following a recommended process. I also believe there is some value in recognizing where we are and what we have. Renee's path to ministry has not been a straight line. And our journey to this moment as a congregation has not been perfect. But even so, we have in Renee a spiritual leader who has demonstrated her capability and her commitment to this congregation. She's answered a call to serve this fellowship, and she continues to do so faithfully. She's worthy of our trust. She's worthy of our investment in her continued growth as our minister. In some denominations, maybe where you grew up, the minister leads the church. In Unitarian Universalism, the minister partners with the congregation together in ministry. That's pretty cool. Renee is discerning her path forward, and we are called to discern ours as well. During this exciting season of growth, your voice matters. Whether you've been here for 50 years or 5 weeks. And I'm grateful to be moving forward together. Let's have some chocolate. Thank you.
Amen to everything. We love you, Renee. Okay, we're going to share in joys and concerns now. So this is the time. If you would like to come up and drop a stone or more, to do so. And if you have a yellow card, you can give that to me. If for some reason you can't make it up front, hold it up and we'll come to you and get it. And Brenda, would you play us some music? David, do we have any joys and concerns online? We discussed existentialism in our 10 a.m. mindful group. Yes, like step 1 in NA and AA, I often feel powerless and curious about existence. Sometimes we do feel like we have no free will. Like, I drank water yesterday. Why? Do I have to drink water again today? I'm going to say yes. That's a good idea. And always thought-provoking. Okay, let's take a moment. We've had a lot of things and many more things that are not shared. Let's drop some stones for things that are maybe too tender to share, that are on our hearts, and some more for the things we will encounter this week: joys, concerns, challenges, existential questions. And let's take 60 seconds to find my stopwatch. 60 seconds to just be quiet and think, and for those who pray or meditate. Let's take a couple of deep breaths together. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Okay. It's time now for the offering. There are various ways to give. Many of us give virtually, online, but we like to pass the physical basket. You don't have to put something in, but we invite you to do that. This fellowship is supported by our free will offerings. So thank you for your support.
Loved ones. Last year at Chocolate Communion, we talked about love and love throughout history and all the different types of love. And I told you then that we would talk more about chocolate next year, and here we are. Friends, chocolate shows up everywhere in our culture, especially this time of year when Valentine's Day is on the brain. But where does it come from? Where does it literally come from? The cacao plant, right? Okay, so what is that plant? It is a seed from a South American native tree. A rare situation where the seed grows from the trunk of the tree. It is full of pulp and beans. And it looks like an old school rugby ball. Then the beans are fermented and squished and roasted and a final grind, and there you have chocolate. Well, there you have cocoa powder. And in terms of its life, we can go back at least 5,000 years to 3300 BCE in what is now Ecuador to the Mayo Chinchipe culture. It is the Maya who are the first people in history that we're aware of who can really leave a little bit of evidence for us to have an actual clue about the early history of chocolate. We know a little bit about how they consumed their chocolate or their cacao. It's a drink. It was bitter. But they might have added some chili to give it some spice or some honey to give it some sweetness. And it was strangely, peculiarly addictive because it contains a bromine, which is an alkaloid. Caffeine is an alkaloid as well. Like coffee, it's so satisfying you just can't help but go back. It's so bitter, but you just want a little bit more. Chocolate was highly prized by ancient people, so much so that it was spoken of in the Madrid Codex. The Madrid Codex is one of only 4 surviving pre-Columbian Maya books, date to the late post-classic period. It is an accordion-folded 56-page manuscript made of bark paper, housed in the Museo de America in Madrid. It is a crucial ritual handbook used by priests for divination. It contains calendars and almanacs and depictions of ceremonies and rituals and daily life, like weaving and beekeeping and chocolate. There were pictures of gods piercing their ears with obsidian glass and letting the blood mingle with chocolate. Wait for it. Okay, hang on. And what we are supposed to read into that is that chocolate was so good that the blood of the gods was mingled with it. Gross. We learned also during this time that chocolate, the beans, were used as currency. Yes, it was so prized that it was used for purchasing goods, and I love this part. There were fake beans made. Maybe I should say, I tried to figure out a pun for counterfeit and beans, but counterfeit, they were counterfeit beans. Like, there's stories of the statues of the gods, you know, like people would bring offerings of beans and lay them in front of the statues of the gods, you know, for offerings and things. And the historians tell us that there are these fake beans, like probably teenagers, like came and like took the actual beans and put fake beans made of colored mud. In their place. After the Mayan civilization came the Aztecs, and they still carried on with the worshiping of chocolate, but the way that it was consumed, that's what evolved. They didn't just drink it hot. They turned it into a cold drink. They added achiote and dyed it red. They added vanilla and honey. And they also added cornmeal. Let's go ahead and switch to that next slide for this part. They added cornmeal and made it a much nicer drink. Cocoa's about 50% fat. A straight chocolate drink would have fat in it, or what we would call cocoa butter, like the solids kind of floating up at the top. But the Aztecs figured out that cornmeal would soak that up. And it would become a more beautiful and a much nicer drink to have. I mean, I can see it kind of being like lip gloss if you didn't do that, but I'm just kidding. The Spanish still do this today, and people will call it Spanish hot chocolate or champurrado. You're supposed to roll your R. I can't roll my R. You're supposed to roll your R. Champurrado. It's not lost on me that the word purr is in the middle of that drink. So this is all very interesting, and we are UUs. And as your minister, I can't just tell you about the roses. Chocolate production is highly problematic due to systemic issues, including widespread child labor, forced labor. There are many enslaved people farming chocolate. And there's extreme poverty amongst farmers, particularly in West Africa. Environmentally, it drives massive deforestation and habitat loss to expand cocoa farming. Unsustainable practices like sun cultivation and heavy pesticide use further damage ecosystem and reduce crop quality. Okay. So then how can we have our chocolate but do it right? What do we do? We look for fair trade certified chocolate. We look for direct trade or Rainforest Alliance certified chocolate. These are the 5 things that you can look for on your chocolate. The Endangered Species brand of chocolate is fair trade and Rainforest Alliance certified. It was one of the first brands to use fully traceable, ethically sourced cocoa. It gives 10% of its net sales to organizations focusing on wildlife and habitat protection. And they use shade-grown cocoa, which promotes biodiversity. So today, all of our chocolate is Endangered Species brand except for the white chocolate. They don't make a white chocolate that I could find. Our white chocolate is Tony's Chocolonely, which is 100% enslaved people free, highly ethical chocolate. And y'all, ethical chocolate tastes better. Some brands to avoid. This is no shade. This is just tea, okay? I'm not judging you if these are your favorite kinds of chocolate. I am just sharing that these are not ethically sourced types of chocolate. You feel like you know more about chocolate? Good. Okay, so let's move into our chocolate communion. Sometimes life is very, very sweet, like white chocolate. Sometimes life is sweet with a little bit of complexity, like 33% milk chocolate. Sometimes life is bittersweet with memories and feelings and thoughts that are deep and rich, like 55% dark chocolate. Sometimes life throws you curveballs with delightful surprises, like chocolate with orange peel, or chocolate with coffee in it, or with Hawaiian sea salt in it. And sometimes life's just kind of bitter, yet still interesting and fulfilling, like the Super Extreme 88% dark chocolate. We have all of those types on our altar today. White chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate with orange, dark chocolate with coffee, very dark chocolate with a touch of Hawaiian sea salt, and super extreme dark chocolate. Last year, I heard from a few of you that there weren't enough types of chocolate. So this year, we went for it. So what I'm going to ask you to do is please come up and get your piece of chocolate. Wait, but don't eat it. We'll all eat it. We'll all wait till we have our chocolate to eat it. So we will start with the front rows and the choir loft areas and then move towards the back. So I want you to come down the middle aisles, and go back on the edge aisles. Okay. You may come forward. Brenda, thank you. Dear ones, what does your chocolate feel like? Melty? Smell it. Okay, so we are about to eat it, but I want you to let it melt a little bit in your mouth before you chew it. Here we go. What do you taste? Oh, I know you taste chocolate. It's complex, right? I wish we were living in the future and I could give our Facebook participants chocolate also.
Can we have seconds?
Um,
Afterward.
After church, we can have seconds, Gene, but not yet.
They're so small.
Well, I mean, I did cut them small. I mean, yes, come back and get seconds when the service is over. Maybe try something different. The coffee one was excellent. I want this chocolate to remind you of the complexity and richness of our UU faith. The complexity and richness of our congregation, of life. It's easy for life to get to feeling bitter sometimes, but all we really have to do is add some white chocolate to it, obviously. Full of sweetness, depth, and able to contain multitudes of different people, different beliefs. Our UU denomination is rooted with love at the center. Hey, Jean, will you read a poem with me called Ode to Chocolate by Barbara Crooker? Not Betty Crocker, which when I was practicing this, I said that twice. Not Betty Crocker, Barbara Crooker.
I would be delighted. I happen to have a copy of it right now. Let's read it together, shall
Let's
we?
read it together.
So this is a poem, not necessarily our personal feelings. Because the first line says, I hate milk chocolate. Don't want clouds of cream diluting the dark night sky.
Don't want pralines or raisins rubble in this smooth plateau.
I like my coffee black, my beer from Germany, wine from Burgundy, the darker the better.
I like my heroes complicated and brooding. James Dean in oiled leather leaning on a motorcycle. You know the color.
Oh, chocolate. From the spice bazaars of Africa, hulled in mills, beaten, pressed in bars.
The cold slab of a cave's interior when all the stars have gone to sleep.
Chocolate strolls up to the microphone and plays jazz at midnight. The low, slow notes of a bass clarinet.
Chocolate saunters down the runway, slouches in quaint boutiques. Its style, je ne sais quoi.
Chocolate stays up late and gambles like roulette. Always bets on the noir.
You like that? That's pretty good.
We love chocolate. I heard some grumbling. I'm mumbling when that list of the bad companies. And I will say this, and they will all have statements saying they don't, that their chocolate is ethical, and maybe some of it is and some of it isn't, but they need to go the extra mile to certify it, and that means paying a little more and being more careful. And I wanted to mention also that my 3-year-old granddaughter loves chocolate, but she pronounces it chocolate. And I hope she always does, but she probably won't. But for now, it's chocolate. I love Papa, do you have any chocolate? Yes, I do.
Thanks, Jean. And I hope you enjoyed our chocolate communion. Our closing hymn is from the new hymnal, and it's called This Boat. I want you all to sing the chorus, and I'll sing the verses. You may remember this song as we have done it once before. Let's go over the chorus once just to make sure that we have it. This boat is steady, this boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. When you're ready, grab an oar. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. Oh, that was good. That sounded really good. Let's do it one more time. This boat is steady. This boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. When you're ready, grab an oar. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. We all know hardship. We all know pain. Nothing ventured means nothing gained, and every rainbow needs the rain. You're not alone, try again. This boat is steady, this boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. When you're ready, grab an oar. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. Even when you've been tempest tossed, even when you feel all is lost, you've heard the thunder roar, had a look at heaven's door. And if you're sinking like a stone, this boat will carry you home. This boat is steady, this boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. When you're ready, grab an oar. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. In this boat, there's nothing we can't do together, no matter the weather. No matter if the charts get lost, we will navigate by our stars. This boat is steady, this boat is sure. When you're ready, climb aboard. When you're ready, grab an oar. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. This boat will carry us to the farthest shore. Oh, epic. You may be seated.
I don't remember hearing that hymn before. That's absolutely lovely. And I think it illustrates a couple of very important comments about Unitarian Universalism, if I may editorialize a second. that when you are ready, no one is forcing you to be here. Climb on board this steady, sure place that we have made for ourselves. But when you're ready, grab an oar. That it takes all of us to create our community, all of us working together, and that together we can go wherever we want to go. And on that delightful note, we will extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of
let's see, I mentioned this. We haven't given a huge push, and we kind of did a slow rollout. Lenz is wearing hers, and they're available in the foyer, Fawn, in the office. So go to the office, very reasonably priced. Show your pride in UUFF.
And if you want one and you can't afford it, reach out.
Yes, absolutely. Is it a fundraiser? A little bit. We're not. It's only. I think. Is it $12? So it's not a huge fundraiser. I'm sure if you want to give more.
This wasn't my idea, but I'm thrilled that it's happening. Yeah.
All right.
Tomorrow. I mean next week. For our CRE classes, next week we will be creating the Butsaman for this year. So please do send your young ones down to CRE next year for our yearly Butsaman creation. And your teens, that's exactly right. Okay, awesome. One more thing. In Springdale today at 3 p.m., there is a free trade day with IRA. And it is at 315 Emma Street. And if you want to know more about that, just see me afterwards. My son is helping with that organization. IRA is an immigrant organization. Okay, for our closing words today, dear ones. These are by Carter Hayward, called Love is a Choice. We are not automatic lovers of self, others, world, or gods. Love does not just happen. We are not love machines, puppets on the strings of a deity called love. Love is a choice. Not simply or necessarily a rational choice, but rather a willingness to be present to others without pretense or guile. Love is a conversion to humanity. A willingness to participate with others in the healing of a broken world and broken lives. Love is the choice to experience life as a member of the human family, as a partner in the dance of life, rather than as an alien in the world or as a deity above the world, aloof and apart from humanity. Isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. May the flame of our community ignite a love bold enough to share, dear ones. And in return, may we all be embraced by a love that remains constant in times of sorrow and in days of great gladness. Thank you. I love you.